Raider Nation, what is the deal, man? Once again, it's your guy Panama Fargo back to y'all live with another episode of the Raider Rundown. And today, man, we got to go over today's day of camp, man. Certain people were out, certain people were in. We had a certain rookie return to training camp, man, and just a lot of good information that we got to go over, man. So without further ado, let's get this intro started and let's get it cracking.
As a young guy, I had a dream that someday I would build the finest organization in professional sports.
Raider Nation, what is the deal, man? Once again, it's another episode of the Raider Rundown. Make sure you are tapping on that like and subscribe button. Please hit on the little notification bell if you can, man, so you get updated whenever I drop episodes like this one here. So like I said, man, a lot of important information to go over today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So let's start with the most prominent information. Rookie D-tackle Byron Young has returned to practice, man, returned to training camp today. Very good day to return to because it was said by Josh McDaniels, it was said by multiple coaches that today was a correction day. No pads, okay, more of a mental day. Get the reps right, get the mental reps right. So it's a great day for Byron Young to return, right? Get his feet up under him. You know, he probably has been in the playbook, studying the playbook. So at the end of the day, it's good for him to get his steps and start slow, right? So that's good news. We see he was there today. Today, Jimmy was not at practice. All right, Jimmy G was scheduled to have this day off. And like we discussed already, right, on this channel, Jimmy has scheduled days off that the coaching staff, the training staff, everybody has agreed to, him included, right, so that he can come back and be as healthiest that he can be for week one. So everybody that sees that Jimmy G didn't practice today, remember, it's part of that scheduled, training program that him and the Raiders have worked out so that he can be as healthy as he can be. So no alarms being sounded about that. Another person who was not at practice today, Michael Mayer. Okay, Michael Mayer from Vic Tafer seemed to have tweaked some a little bit yesterday's practice, but seems to be, he was working himself back and he was not at practice today. Like I told y'all, it was a correction day, no pads, okay? Even Max Crosby was not there today, not due to injury because he has a scheduled day off, right? So this seems like one of the days where the Raiders kind of, although there was practice, they kind of took it easy today, right? And let the bodies rest, get more mental than physical reps today. And at the end of the day, the NFL is like that. Not every day in the NFL for training camp, you can go ahead and wear pads and go at it and hit people. So it's good that today, a couple people got to rest. But like I said, Michael Mayer wasn't there today. Max Crosby was not there today. So, those are a couple dudes that were missing. But, we got a lot of important and good information from the Raiders pressers and their interviews after practice. Now, they interviewed Nate Hobbs. They actually interviewed Jacorian Bennett today. So if you didn't have a chance to go see that, go see those two dudes, right? And hear how they're talking about this season, how they're talking about approaching their play, right? Especially when you hear Nate Hobbs talk. The constant mindset of turnovers, the constant talking about getting your hands on the football. And you can see it starts, from the top down. We saw Marcus Peters the other day discussing the same thing. We're seeing the mindset of this Raiders defense change right in front of our eyes, right? Now we're starting to see this defense become more physical, become more mentally hungry, right? And want to get their hands on the football. I don't know, and y'all could correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I don't know a season where the Raiders defense has been this heavy, this primary on getting turnovers and getting their hands on the ball. They've made it an emphasis this year, from the coaches to the players. They've made it an emphasis, and I don't know the last time I've heard a Raiders defense and defenders talk the way they're talking this year, right? Gets me excited, especially when you hear the offensive players talk about how tough it's been matching up with the defense. They also interviewed Philip Dorsett today. He said, the defense has been sticky. They've been tight. They've been everywhere. They play phenomenal defense, right? And yesterday we talked about Jimmy and the offense being inconsistent. Well, you're hearing from McDaniels today. You're hearing from Philip Dorsett today that although, there are some kinks that still need to be worked out with Jimmy and he still needs to get his rhythm, right? At the end of the day, it's hard to deny the defense is just playing that well. And as a Raider fan, it's almost like, oh shit, we in the twilight zone. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird to hear, and you wanna believe it. You want and trust me, you want that expectation to be set high. And I know us as Raider fans, we don't want to get our hopes up too high, right? Because we hear them, and we hear the players, we hear the coaches, we hear all this shit, and all of a sudden, like clockwork, us Raider fans start getting excited and hopeful again, right? But at the end of the day, it's something to be said that from this group right here, okay, for them to be playing as consistent as they are, for the communication to be talked about, the physicality to be talked about as much as it has been, and the turnover playmaking ability to be as prominent as it's been in this training camp. Let's hope it translates to week 1 and all that other shit. But as of right now, I can't be nothing but excited to hear about all this, right? Now, I want to touch on the Jimmy G thing that we talked about yesterday, right? We talked about his inconsistencies, him being hot, him being cold. And like I just said, Josh McDaniels, Philip Dorsett, they just talked about that. They just touched on, yes, Jimmy needs to get his rhythm right. But, there is no concern, right? There's no concern with him and these turnovers in camp right now. At the end of the day, Josh McDaniels doesn't seem too concerned, So let's hope that he's just working out all the kinks, okay? And he's just getting himself back into the shape of being in this playmaking system, of being in this scheme, right? And then when we look at it in week 1, we see more rhythm. And like we said yesterday, maybe the defense is just that fucking good. Who knows? We won't know until we play different colored jerseys. And we really are going to know something about this team coming this next week when the 49ers come into town, right? When the 49ers come into town and we do that joint practice, and let's just say this now before the practices and shit come up, right? Understand, Jimmy G is about to play a 49ers defense in these joint practices that he has spent a number of years with. They know his tendencies. They know how he throws the ball, right? They know what he likes and does not like to do. So at the end of the day, let's not come out here and hit the fucking panic button if we see the 49ers defense making plays. Now, does that mean Jimmy has the excuse to be absolute shit? No, it does not. Okay, he can't come out here and just be absolute fucking dog water. Because if he is, then you guys have a right to trip, and I might come out here and fuck around and trip right with y'all, right? But at the end of the day, we have to give him just a little more slack. Remember who we're playing. Remember what team he was with before this, okay? But we want to see Jimmy. If Jimmy comes out here and looks great against the 49ers defense, well, regardless of all the things that I just listed, now the questions are answered. The defense might be that good. Jimmy and them are starting to get their rhythm back. So these are things for us to monitor as we go through, right? But at the end of the day, it's just good to hear the shit that we're hearing now. I want the offense to come out here, and I want the offense to show a little bit more consistency, a little more rhythm, okay? I want them to be more consistent going through practices, all right? And once we start seeing the days stack up for the offense, okay? Because right now, they're still working out their kinks. Like we said way back in another video. The offense as a whole has to work out their kinks. Now, you got some players that's been in this system for 2 years, but the most important position, the quarterback, is still getting his rhythm. He's still not learning the offense, but getting back into the offense, right? And there might be some new terminology that he has not heard. So at the end of the day, right, once we start seeing the offense stack days and we see them starting to get the upper hand now, because we're already seeing the defense making plays, and I only expect that to get better from here. But once we start seeing the offense get that rhythm, now we're talking. You know what I mean? Now we're starting to see that good shit that we want to see. So I say let's keep giving it. Let's keep giving it some time. We got next week. Next week will tell us all. Next week will tell us all. Even the joint practices with the Rams will tell us all. Right? That will tell us what type of team we have to look forward to. What can we be expecting? Sorry, I'm over here fucking stuttering. But what can we expect from the team? Right? That is what I'm really, really waiting for. I'm waiting for other jerseys to come and see what the competition looks like from there. But so far, I'm not mad at what I've heard. Not mad at all. And last but not least, we got to touch on the Raiders' first round draft pick, Tyree Wilson. Right? Now, he, as you all know, he hasn't been practicing, ain't been out there. Okay, now he has that foot injury that he was coming off of in college, and like I've alluded to, and I probably talked to my homie about this a million times, right? This is a big man. This is a big guy, and a foot injury for this big of a human is alarming, and you do not want to rush this man back. Okay, for that big of a human to have a foot injury like he has, you need to take your time. You need to be patient. Yes, I understand, Raider Nation. We want him to be out there. And at the end of the day, I'm not gonna tell you what you think, right? If you're pissed at him that he's not out there, you pissed at the regime that he's not out there. I understand that completely because I can see it from your side. But at the end of the day, I'm personally saying, right, we don't want to rush this man back. Okay, we don't want him to come back too soon. And now this is a reoccurring fucking problem. And for a big man, a reoccurring foot problem is a huge, huge problem. All right, so let's not trip. Josh McDaniels touched on that. And if you haven't watched his interview that he gave before practice today, I encourage you, go watch that. I always encourage y'all, before I continue, I will always encourage y'all to go watch the interviews, okay? Go watch what the players, what the coaches are saying. Don't just take my word, right? See for yourself. See what they're saying. And you know, if you agree and everything aligns, then it is what it is. But at the end of the day, form your opinion, right? And see what they're saying. But I do want to touch on, right? Josh McDaniels did touch on Tyree, and he said he's not concerned about him being able to play in the regular season. Now, they asked him, will he be ready for week 1? Now, keep this in mind. Coaches are going to give that coach-ass answer, right? And he says, I hope he will be ready for week 1. Now, right, is that Josh McDaniels saying that he seems to be on track to be ready to play week 1, but he's not totally sure? Or is that coach speak for not wanting to put all your eggs in one basket, or just push the chips to the table and let other teams know that he's going to be ready? At the end of the day, you know, I think that Tyree is on the right track. Will he be there for week 1? I hope so. I do believe he will be there for week 1, right? But I want him to start getting training camp reps now. It's good to see Byron Young out there and being active, but I would love to see Tyree Wilson out there and just getting his feet up under him, getting his rhythm up under him. Like multiple people have said, right? And I think I'm starting to agree. I'm not expecting a superstar season from Tyree Wilson. Okay. I don't think it's needed for him to do that right now. Would it be spectacular? Yes, of course. And nobody would say nothing. But at the end of the day, right, I don't think right now it's needed for him to be that superstar player. Right now, it's crucial for him to learn behind dudes like Max Crosby, dudes like Chandler Jones. And keep this in mind. When Chandler is on his way out, because it's coming soon, who the fuck do you think is going to replace that spot? Tyree, right? So as of right now, he needs to soak up all that game. He needs to soak up all that game, get healthy, get his rhythm, use this year as a year to say, okay, I'm going to play in the NFL. Let's see what I need to work on. Let's see what I'm not so good at, right? Let's see what I'm good at. And by year 2, we will see improvement. Why? Because it's a full off season, hopefully a full healthy off season, a full off season with guys like Max Crosby, if Chandler Jones is still here, guys like that, and more pieces added, more veteran pieces added that might be able to help them. So at the end of the day, right, let's not trip. Remember, I expect almost like 5 to 6 sacks this season, right? 5 to 6 sacks, pressure, right? And at least we'll see some tools. But I expect him to really take off and ascend his game in year 2, 3, and beyond that. So, like I said, Josh McDaniels said he's not really tripping about it. Am I tripping about it? I say from a scale of like 1 to 10, I'm at like a 4 right now, right? I'm at like a 4 on the trip meter. So, you know, that's a good idea. I might fuck around and do a trip meter, but at the end of the day, right, I feel like I'm at a 4. So at the end of the day, you know, we're going to keep it rolling, and hopefully he gets out there soon. But, you know, y'all let me know down below. How do y'all feel about the news that you heard today? How do you feel about Byron Young returning to practice? How you feel about Tyree Wilson not practicing as of yet? Let me know down below in the comments, man. And remember, we go live every Thursday, so make sure you pulling up for that. We always gonna have a special guest. If not a special guest, I'm gonna pull up, talk to y'all, man, and we're gonna get some good Raider conversation in. So remember, every Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern time, we are going live. Make sure y'all tune in for that. And remember, I always keep it authentic from the clouds to the ground on the Raider Rundown.